The de Blasio administration is testing its power, city council officials say, by trying to limit council members' filing of an amicus brief on behalf of a plaintiff who is suing the city of New York. Holly Pickett for the New York Times. From time to time, members of the New York City Council have been known to disagree with Mayor Bill de Blasio. But do they have the right to formally do so in court? That question is being addressed by a judge in state Supreme Court in Manhattan, after a group of 5 council members moved to file an amicus brief on behalf of a plaintiff in a lawsuit over New York City's property tax system. The council members, who say in their brief that they represent nearly 800,000 residents in their districts, believe the current property tax system is unfair and discriminatory against minorities, and that the case against the city should go forward. The city's law department, whose top lawyer is appointed by Mayor de Blasio, is arguing that the tax case be dismissed, and that the members' brief should not even be considered by the court. So, on Wednesday, a case about property taxes took on more lofty concerns, touching on separation of powers and the independence of the 51-member legislative branch to differ with the mayor. The chief lawyer for the city council argued in support of the filing of the brief, not the content of it, but the right of the council members to file it, at the direction of Speaker Melissa Mark Viverito, to preclude acceptance of the proposed amicus brief. Jason Adolfo Otaño, the general counsel for the city council, wrote in his filing, would constitute an impermissible encroachment of the executive branch on the legislative branch. The mayor and the city council have certainly been on opposite sides of legal disputes, especially during the more contentious executive-legislative clashes of the Giuliani and Bloomberg years. And in the federal lawsuit over stop and frisk, a group of 27 council members filed an amicus brief supporting the plaintiffs against the city. In those cases, the Corporation Counsel, the head of the law department, represented the mayor and city agencies, and private lawyers typically stood on the side of the council, said Richard Briffault, a Columbia Law School professor who has written on state and local government law. It's about the rights of the council to participate in the legal system through their own lawyers when the Corporation Counsel declines to represent them, Mr. Briffault said. The city's position is that the city charter designates the Corporation Counsel as the attorney for the city and every agency, meaning that the council members could file a brief as citizens but not in their official roles. The case law is very clear, Joshua Sivan, senior counsel at the law department, said in court on Wednesday. The city should speak with one voice. Noreen Ann Kelly, a partner with McGuire Woods who is representing the 5 council members in their brief, replied, "The legislature is not an agency of city government." The dispute comes in the midst of a heated 8-way race to be the city council's next speaker, a contest in which demonstrating independence from Mr. de Blasio, re-elected to a second term last week, has been a central task for each. Mr. de Blasio has made moves to influence the race, but he has done so quietly, so as not to indicate his choice. He met with the head of the Queens County Democratic Party, Representative Joseph Crowley, on Sunday evening for an hour and they discussed the speaker's race. The meeting was not on Mr. de Blasio's schedule, but was confirmed by a City Hall spokesman. The legal wrangling in court on Wednesday also occurred quietly. Several council members, reached for comment, said they had not been aware of the administration's position. Those directly involved were defiant. The notion that the council has no ability to take a position on a lawsuit without the blessing of the mayor strikes me as an extraordinary claim, said Councilman Richie Torres of the Bronx, a candidate to be speaker, and one of the 5 in the amicus brief. City agencies do not control us. Eric Elrick, a Queens Republican also on the brief, said the city's arguments against them filing were not valid. Victor A. Kovner, who served as the city's top lawyer under Mayor David N. Dinkins, disagreed. "It's not a close question," he said. "I think they would lose even if it was the entire council seeking to put it in." The underlying property tax lawsuit was filed against the city and the state in April by Tax Equity Now New York, a coalition whose backers include homeowners, renters, the Citizens Budget Commission, real estate developers, and the NAACP, among others. They are represented by James Brandt and Judge Jonathan Lippman, the state's former chief judge, of the law firm Latham & Watkins. Mr. Lippman said the city's position on the amicus brief seems to us not to make any sense. Judge Gerald Lebovitz did not rule on the clash between city government branches on Wednesday, saying he would consider the arguments. Nor did he tip his hand, even as he predicted the outcome. "In a battle between the city and the city will win," he said. A version of this article appears in print on November 16, 2017, on page A20 of the New York edition with the headline "Mayor and City Council in Dispute on Legal Rights."